Hello friends, chapter number 10, Wave Optics. Friends, this chapter is very useful in your examination. The weightage of this chapter in your board exam is 11 marks. So the weightage of this chapter is 11 marks. There will be two questions of 3 marks. So 3 marks, 2 questions, right? Plus there will be 5 MCQ, right? So the weightage of this chapter is 11 marks, 2 questions, each question 3 marks and 5 MCQ. Right. Now we already studied chapter number 9, ray optics, right? So from today we discuss about wave optics, right? In chapter number 9 we studied reflection, refraction, Snell's law, but these all things are for ray. In this chapter we studied reflection, refraction, Snell's law, but this is for wave, right? Now we already know that we studied in chapter 9 that light is an electromagnetic radiation, right? We know the wavelength of light 4000 Armstrong to 8000 Armstrong, right? So we know that light is an electromagnetic radiation and the wavelength is 4000 Armstrong to 8000 Armstrong, right, in our electromagnetic spectrum. And we know that this wavelength is for the visible light. So you have to remember that wavelength of visible light is 4000 Armstrong to 8000 Armstrong, right? Now there are different views of light, like Newton's particle theory of light, or we can say corpuscular model of light, and second view on light is from Huygens, that name Huygens wave theory. So Newton's particle theory and the Huygens wave theory, these are the views on the light, right? So these two theory says the different view on the light, right? In corpuscular model of light, or we can say Newton's particle theory, this theory of light set by the Descartes. You have to remember this name, the corpuscular theory of light set by Descartes in 1637. The Descartes derives the Snell's law and explain the different laws of reflection and refraction of light, right? So this I repeat once again, the corpuscular theory of light set by the Descartes in 1637, and he derived Snell's law, explained the different laws of reflection and refraction. And this model predict that if a ray of light bends towards the normal, then the speed of light would be greater in the second medium, or we can say denser medium. I repeat once again, the corpuscular model predict that if the ray of light bends towards the normal, then speed of light would be greater in the second medium. So we can say it is higher in the denser medium, right? So this corpuscular theory of light was considered as a Newton's corpuscular theory, right? So we write some sentence: corpuscular model of light, or we can say Newton's particle theory. So this theory of light set by the Descartes in 1637. He derived Snell's law and explained the laws of reflection and refraction. This theory predicts that if the ray of light bends towards the normal, then the speed of light would be greater in second medium, or we can say higher in denser medium, right? And last, corpuscular theory of light was considered as a Newton's corpuscular theory, right? So you have to remember that in Newton's particle theory of light, or we can say in corpuscular model of light, when a ray of light bends towards the normal, then speed would be greater in second medium, or we can say speed is higher in denser medium. So you have to remember this sentence. Now we move forward to Huygens wave theory. So friends, Huygens also put the wave theory of light. He explained the phenomena of reflection and refraction, but he predicted that if wave bends towards the normal, then speed of light would be less in second medium, or we can say speed is less in the denser medium, right? I repeat, in Huygens wave theory, Huygens also explained the phenomena of reflection and refraction. He predicted that if the wave bends towards normal, then speed of light would be less in the second medium, or we can say less in the denser medium, right? So see, Huygens wave theory. So in 1678, Huygens put the wave theory of light. In this theory, he explained that the phenomena of reflection and refraction, and he predicted that if wave bends towards the normal, then the speed of light would be less in second medium, or we can say in speed is less in the denser medium, right? So this is an contradiction to the prediction made by using the corpuscular model of light. So I repeat once again, in corpuscular model, or we can say Newton's particle theory, if ray of light bends towards the normal, then speed of light would be greater in second medium, or we can say speed is higher in denser medium. But in Huygens wave theory, if wave bends towards the normal, then speed of light would be less in second medium, or we can say speed is less in denser medium. So this is the contradiction in the prediction, right? Now friends, we already know that the wave always require a medium to propagate from one point to other point, right? So if we want to transmit and wave from one medium to another medium, we require, or I repeat once again, if we want to transmit a wave from one point to other point, then we require a medium. So we can say that a wave always require a medium to propagate from one point to other point. Now the history says that in 1801, Young performed the interference experiment and established that the light is always a wave phenomena. This is the history, right? So we have to Remember these things, right? So I repeat once again. In 1801, Young performed interference experiment and established that light is always a wave phenomena, and the wavelength of light is much smaller than the dimension of mirror. I repeat, the wavelength of light is much smaller than the dimension of mirror. So the light can be assumed to approximately travels in a straight line. So we already discussed in chapter number 9 that light travels in a straight line. So in chapter number 10, the history says that the wavelength of light is much smaller than the dimension of mirror and lens. So we can say that light can be assumed to approximately travels in a straight line. And a ray is defined as the path of energy propagation, right? So the path of energy propagation is known as the ray, right? So I repeat, wave always require a medium to propagate from one point to other point. History says that Young performed interference experiment and established that light is a wave phenomena. Then the wavelength of light is much smaller than the dimension of mirror and lens. So we can say that light can be assumed approximately travels in a straight line. And a ray is defined as the path of energy propagation. Okay. Now, another scientist, Maxwell. The Maxwell developed a set of equations describing the laws of electricity and magnetism. I repeat, Maxwell developed a set of equations describing the laws of electricity and magnetism. So by using this equation, he derived the wave equation, and from which he predicted that existence of the electromagnetic wave. I repeat, Maxwell developed a set of equations describing laws of electricity and magnetism. By using this equation, he derived the wave equation, from which he predicted the existence of the electromagnetic wave, right? And from these equations, Maxwell calculated the speed of electromagnetic waves in a free space, and he found that the theoretical value was very close to the measure value of speed of light. From this, Maxwell proved that light must be an electromagnetic wave. Right. I repeat, Maxwell developed set of equations describing the laws of electricity and magnetism. From these equations, Maxwell calculated the speed of electromagnetic waves in a free space, and he found that the theoretical value was very close to the measure value of speed of light. From this, he proved that light must be an electromagnetic wave, right? Now, according to Maxwell, the light must be, I repeat, according to Maxwell, the light wave must be associated with the changing electric and magnetic field. I repeat, according to Maxwell, light waves are associated with changing electric and magnetic field. So this changing electric field produces a time varying magnetic field, and changing magnetic field produce time varying electric field. So Due to the change in electric and magnetic field results the propagation of electromagnetic waves in a vacuum. So we can say that light travels in a free space or vacuum because light is an electromagnetic wave, right? So Maxwell proves that the light must be an electromagnetic wave. According to Maxwell, light waves are associated with change in electric and magnetic field. The change in electric field produce a time varying magnetic field, and this time varying magnetic field produce time varying electric field. So this change in electric and magnetic field result the propagation of electromagnetic waves in a vacuum, right? Okay, so see here, Maxwell develops the equation of Maxwell develops the equation of electric and magnetic fields, right? And from these equations, Maxwell calculates the speed of electromagnetic waves in free space, and he found that the theoretic value was very close to the measure value of speed of light. So from this we can say that light must be an electromagnetic wave. According to Maxwell, light waves are associated with changing electric and magnetic fields. The changing electric field produces a time and space varying magnetic field, and a changing magnetic field produces a time varying electric field. So this changing electric and magnetic field result in a propagation of electromagnetic waves even in a vacuum. So we can say that light travels in a free space, right? So this proves that the light can be travels in a free space, or we can say electromagnetic waves travels or propagate in a vacuum or free space. Now wave front. હવે ફ્રેન્ડ્સ, તમે જ્યારે સ્ટેશનરી કન્ડિશનમાં પાણી હોય, યા તો વી કેન સે દેટ અ કામ પૂલ ઓફ વોટર, જ્યારે તમે કોઈ સ્ટોન લઈને આ સ્ટેશનરી કન્ડિશનમાં વોટર હોય યા તો અ કામ પૂલ ઓફ વોટર, એમાં જ્યારે તમે નાખો છો ત્યારે તમે આ રીતના જોઈ શકો કે જ્યારે તમે પથ્થર નાખો છો ત્યારે આ રીતના તમને સર્ક્યુલર રિંગ્સ ક્રિએટ થયેલી દેખાય છે આ રીતે. ઓકે, આઈ રિપીટ કે જ્યારે તમે સ્ટેશનરી કન્ડિશનમાં પાણી હોય ત્યારે સપોઝ આ જગ્યાએ તમે જ્યારે પથ્થર નાખો યા તો સ્ટોન ફેંકો છો ત્યારે તમે જોઈ શકો કે આ રીતની તમને સર્ક્યુલેટેડ રિંગ દેખાય છે, રાઈટ? હવે આ જે સર્ક્યુલેટેડ રિંગ છે, આ સપોઝ હું પહેલી રિંગની વાત કરું, આ રિંગ, રાઈટ, ફર્સ્ટ રિંગ. હવે આ જે રિંગ ક્રિએટ થઈ છે, આ રિંગ પર તો આ જે રિંગ છે, આ રિંગ પરના જુદા જુદા જેટલા પણ પોઈન્ટ હશે, સપોઝ આ બધા પોઈન્ટ આપણે જુદા જુદા કન્સિડર કરીએ, રાઈટ? તો આ દરેક પોઈન્ટ જે છે આ સરફેસ સાથેના એ ઓક્સિલેટ થશે વિથ અ ટાઈમ, રાઈટ? હવે આ જે પોઈન્ટ છે સર્ક્યુલર રિંગ પરના એ બધા ઓક્સિલેટ થવાનું સ્ટાર્ટ કરશે, અને આ જે ઓક્સિલેટ કરશે એ બધાનું જો તમે ડિસ્ટન્સ મેઝર કરો તો આ જે ડિસ્ટન્સ છે દરેકનું કેવું હશે? સેમ, રાઈટ? તો આવું આપણે કહી શકીએ કે વેન વી ડ્રોપ અ સ્ટોન ઇન અ કામ પૂલ ઓફ વોટર, ધ વેવ સ્પ્રેડ આઉટ ફ્રોમ ધી પોઈન્ટ ઓફ ઇમ્પેક્ટ, રાઈટ? કે જ્યાં આગળ પડે છે આ ઇમ્પેક્ટ પોઈન્ટ થયો ત્યાંથી આ રીતના વેવ સ્પ્રેડ થાય છે. every point on a surface start oscillating with a time, right? And hence the surface shows the circular ring. આ રીતની circular ring દેખાય. Now all the points on circle are oscillating in phase because there are at the same distance from the source. તમે જુઓ તો દરેકનું ડિસ્ટન્સ કેવું છે, એક સરખું. તો આ જેટલા પણ પોઈન્ટ્સ છે જ્યારે ઓક્સિલેટ થશે ત્યારે એમનો ફેઝ કેવો હશે, સેમ, રાઈટ. હવે જ્યારે આ બધા પોઈન્ટ છે, આ બધા પોઈન્ટનું આપણે લોકસ દોરીએ, તમને આ રીતના સર્ક્યુલર રિંગ દેખાય, રાઈટ. તો આ જે લોકસ ઓફ ધી પોઈન્ટ છે which oscillate in phase is called the wavefront. એટલે કે જ્યારે તમે આ બધા પોઈન્ટને જોડી નાખો ત્યારે જે તમને ક્રિએટ થતું દેખાય છે, એટલે કે જે ફેઝ દેખાય છે એ ફેઝને જ આપણે શું કહી દઈશું, વેવ ફ્રન્ટ, રાઈટ. આઈ રિપીટ કે જ્યારે તમે સ્ટેશનરી કન્ડિશનમાં પાણી હોય અને તમે જ્યારે પથ્થર નાખો છો ત્યારે તમને આ રીતના વેવ સ્પ્રેડ આઉટ થતા દેખાય છે. હવે આ વેવ્સ જે છે એના પરનો જે દરેક પોઈન્ટ છે એ દરેક પોઈન્ટનું સોર્સથી ડિસ્ટન્સ કેવું છે, એક સરખું. હવે આ જે ડિસ્ટન્સ એક સરખું છે એટલે બધા જ પોઈન્ટ્સ એક સરખા ફેઝમાં ઓક્સિલેટ થશે. અને જ્યારે આપણે આ જેટલા પણ પોઈન્ટ છે એ બધા પોઈન્ટને જ્યારે આપણે જોડીએ, એટલે કે આપણે આ પોઈન્ટનું જ્યારે લોકસ ક્રિએટ કરીએ, રાઈટ, એને જ આપણે શું કહી દઈશું, વેવ ફ્રન્ટ, રાઈટ. સો વી કેન રાઇટ ધેટ. સો when we drop a small stone on a calm pool of water, waves spread out from the point of impact. Every point on the surface starts oscillating with time. All points on a circle are oscillating in same phase because they are at the same distance from the source, right? Or we can say stone. Such a locus of points which oscillate in phase is called a wave front, right? So this locus of points, right, which oscillate in same phase is called wavefront. So these are the wavefronts, right? This is our first wavefront, this is second, and this is third, right? Now the speed with which the wavefront moves outwards, right? We can see that the wavefront moves the direction in outwards, right? So the wavefront, or we can say the speed with which the wavefront moves outwards from the source is called the speed of the wave, right? I repeat, the speed with which wavefront moves outwards from the source is called speed of wave. Now the energy of the wave travel in a direction perpendicular to the wavefront, right? This is our wavefront, and if we want to draw perpendicular, so we can draw like this, right? Or we can say like this, like this, right? Like this, right? Now the line perpendicular to the wavefront like this and indicating the direction of propagation of wave like this, outward direction, right? I repeat, line perpendicular to the wavefront and indicating the direction of propagation of the wave is called ray. Hence the wavefront and ray are perpendicular, right? This is our wavefront and this is the ray. So we can say that the wavefront and ray are perpendicular, right? And we can say that the shape is spherical, so we can say that these are the spherical waves, right? So we can write that. So the speed with which the wavefront moves outwards from the source is called speed of wave. The energy of wave travels in a direction perpendicular to the wavefront. The line perpendicular to the wavefront and indicating the direction of propagation of wave is called ray. So we can say that a ray and the wavefront are perpendicular. Our next point is, here the shape of this wave is spherical, so we can say that these are the spherical waves, right? Now if there is a large distance from a source, a small portion of sphere can be considered as a plane, so we can say that this is a plane wave. I repeat, if there is a large distance from the source, then a small portion of sphere is considered as a plane, so we can say that there is a, or we can say it is known as a plane wave. So if there is a large distance, so the direction is of propagation of wave like this, right? So we consider these are the points, right? So if we collect this, then we get a plane wavefront, right? Like this. So there are the different shape, right? Earlier we see the spherical shape. Here if there is a large distance from source, then we can say there is a plane wavefront. And if we see our tube light, so the waves from a tube light is like this, like this. Like this. So here the shape is like cylindrical, so this is our cylindrical wavefront, right? So there are different shapes of the wavefront. First we studied the spherical wavefront. When the distance is very large, or we can say if there is a large distance, then the shape of wavefront is plane wavefront. The wavefront from tube light is like in cylindrical shape, so we can say these are the cylindrical wavefront, right? The example is the wave emitting from the tube light is called a cylindrical wavefront. Okay, thank you.